The Creative Leadership Network, right here at TCLN, is where news is not just informational, but it is educational. So, you all know, if you've watched my video, my introduction to the TCLN Leadership Lens. Of course, you know I am covering two very important people, and I told you why. Because the populations they deal with are 1+ million. Right here in Texas, that's Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman. And then right there in New York City, that is going to be Zohar Madani, right? So, but today we're going to talk about Jasmine Crockett. This is TCLN Network, and I am IBK, and welcome in. You know, I do news commentary, but I like to do it from an educational standpoint, right? There's a lot going on in our world, and some people are outraged, some people are angered, some people got a lot of information, but it doesn't have clarity. Some people just want a lot of chaos, but then there are those of you who don't want chaos. You just want the simple facts and some simple perspectives and some solutions that help move us forward. Things, because there's so much going on. You got fake stuff out there, then you got some real stuff out there, and we need to be able to decipher between the two so that we can continue to self-govern. And what is self-governing exactly? So according to journalism, self-governing, for the short definition, means that when they give you information, you're supposed to be able to take that information and use it for yourself and to be able to govern your life. In other words, make decisions with that information. But we all know that there is so much stuff out there now, and it's hard to decipher from that stuff. So again, I'm not going to chase every headline. I'm not going to chase every story. It's not enough for me to keep up with. But what I will do here is bring us things that I do believe that matters. And what I do is that when I look at the news, you understand what I'm saying? When I really look at the news, we know that everything that comes across our eyeballs, from headlines to stories to everything, some stuff may not always be true. So then how do we deal with that? How do we deal with that as people? Well, we have to say, okay, what is the positive in it? Is there something we can learn from it? Because remember, you can learn from things no matter what. Let's just say there's a fake story out there, right? Let's just say somebody doing some propaganda. It's a fake story out there. Well, what do you learn from it? What did you gather from it? What made you sharper so that when you see another story like that, you begin to notice them more and more and more, right? So don't just throw away the baby with the bathwater, as they say. Remember, there are things that we can learn. And the more we open up our mind, the more it's going to connect the dots and lead us to other things that we can learn, right? And continue to grow and to continue to help ourselves, right? Because the more that we take information, the more we learn from it, is the more that it gives us inward leadership. The more we become more independent, and the more we're able to make more better sound decisions, okay? And that is leadership. Take a look at Jasmine Crockett. Now, there's a great divide when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. Remember, here at TCLN, we're not going to be arguing about who's right, who's wrong, what whether we like them, whether we don't. We're not going to be arguing about, they're this, they're a liar, they're a con, they're this. That's not what it's for. What it's for is educational purposes. You understand what I'm saying? To gain insight so that we can see what people are actually saying. And when they say it, are they actually doing it? And if they are doing it, do you consider that leadership? You understand what I'm saying? Whether you like the person or you don't. Let's just say you like somebody. Let's just say you like their personality. Let's just say I like them because they're this and I like them because they're that. I'm gay, they're gay, or I'm black, they're black, or I'm this and they're that. But are they actually doing what they say that they're going to do? So when they open up their mouths and say, this is what I stand for, this is what I do, are they doing it? Can you go find it? Can you go research it? Are they doing it? And if you can, then whether you like them or you don't like them, that is leadership, my friends. And can we have good leadership and bad leadership? You better rest assured. You have bad leaders in the world. Think about the whole Gotti family. They were full of leaders, but they was also full of some people that was doing some stuff, right? But they had a sharp organization and they had sharp leadership. So we're not here to argue, are they a bad person? Do we agree with them? Politics, or this or that. What we're here to do is to learn. To learn. If what they are doing is good, you understand what I'm saying? How do we take that? How do we grasp that? And how do we apply that to our lives and make it better? So let's jump into it, okay? Okay, so you always have this divide when it comes to Jasmine. Some people's lives are just polarized. It's not that the person is polarized. Some people just polarize themselves, right? You have this great divide within people's consciousness themselves, right? So when you look at Jasmine Crockett, she's known as this fearless woman who will stand up for her rights and stand up for the people's rights. And she'll say what she wants to say, and whether you like it or not, right? And then on the other side of that, there are people who say, oh, she's ghetto, she acts stupid, she acts dumb, and she's unintelligent, and that's not how you act, right? And they won't consider the things that were said to her to make her say the things that she said, right? And then you will see the same people who are doing all the gossiping and saying all the stuff, and then you get to see the camera unfolds on them. And then you get to see some of the stuff they're saying behind closed doors, because you get to see people accusing her of being unintelligent, stupid, ghetto, and they're behind closed doors calling people stupid, dumb, ignorant, and it's just crazy, right? So again, I wanted to talk about her and Trump, right? Because I wanted to know who started the battle. A lot of times we don't know who be starting these battles, So we'll say, oh, this person, or, Trump is this and he's trying to do this, and she's that, or she's that, and she's good, and Trump is this. So I did look it up. I said, who started that battle first? Who doing all that fighting? And I looked it up, guys. Trump is the one who attacked her first. And of course, he came after her intelligence, and he came after some things that he had to say about her. And you know how Jasmine is. Like, she tell you she's not going to go out without a fight. She's going to come back and say what she needs to say. So this is where a lot of this brawling come from, guys. It's unfortunate. Trump has got caught many, many times saying things to reporters and to people. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes some of the stuff when he's attacking, he's justified, because people will attack him and he'll attack back. But sometimes people are not attacking Trump, and Trump is just attacking people. And to be honest with you, that's not good for leadership. It doesn't mean that he don't have good ideas. He's a great executor. You know that. The dude say something, the dude gonna do it. He got that business mindset. He's been doing that for years. If I say this, he's a goal setter. I set this goal, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and that's how he operates. You understand what I'm saying? So he has that drive. He has that thing, but there is some things that he misses as far as maturity. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just being honest, because you can't be getting caught on camera looking at reporters who haven't called you names talking about you're so stupid. You're just stupid. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that to that woman like that, and just crazy stuff. Now, we know some stuff is AI. We know people are propagating stuff and trying to start fights and trying to start wars. But sometimes these leaders get caught doing the fool. And it just is what it is. Now, let's get into Jasmine, right? Jasmine Crockett, Miss Crockett. Okay. One thing I can say about her is that when she talks about what she wants for the people, she tends to stay consistent. So according to media outlets, according to what her conversation has been, she tends to have had consistency, right? So some of the things she said that she wants is affordable health care, economic relief for everyday families, housing stability, education access, and people who feel ignored to finally be heard. Now, as you know, she worked as an attorney, right? And she had to deal with these cases. She dealt with murderers. She dealt with all kinds of people. And she's seen people be falsely accused. She's had cases that had, like she said, that has brought a burden upon her because she's seen some things that she just knew wasn't right, and it weighed heavy on her, according to her, and what she's been telling us, right? So these are the things that she feels that she relates to, and she really wants to be a help of. She also has said her focus is not on converting opponents. She said her focus is on engaging people who feel forgotten. So her talk is to the people that feel that they have been forgotten. She says she's not out there trying to make people like her, that don't like her, that don't want her. That's her day business. She wants to talk to those and to be a voice for those and a help to those who they feel nobody's listening to them, their voices are not heard, and it's a lot of people out there like that, believe it or not. It goes deeper than what we think. Outside of our little circles and worlds, it gets deep out there. She said one of the biggest pain points that she feels that is going on is that nobody is actually talking to us, but they're talking at us. And so that's why, and that's for TCL too, right? You want to be talked to. You want to understand, like, is somebody understanding that when they're out there protesting and I'm really going through these battles for real and nobody helps, is there a voice out there for that? Do somebody understand that? Or are everybody just making up two sides of the stories? They're wrong, she wrong, they wrong. And what about the people who feel forgotten? What about the people who are not actually helped? You understand what I'm saying? That are going through the stuff silently, being harmed silently, nobody protesting from, but they'll create a whole persona and a whole case, and they'll do a worldwide protest. And then all of the people who going through the darkness are forgotten. That's what I mean on TCLN Network about forgotten people. Now, when it comes to what she say versus what she has done, here is the honest, nonpartisan answer, okay? She's been able to do some things, but of course within limits. She can only operate so much. Anybody can. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Obama. I don't care who it is. You have other forces at work. And even if you present something, you have different sides of the people who are fighting and may not always allow things to go through as you would like your beautiful big ideas to go through. Because they all have beautiful big ideas. Trump got them, she got them, everybody got them. But that doesn't mean that they can always fully act on them because you're dealing with a whole system that may not allow you to do everything that you want to do. Think about yourself when you're on your job. Some of your things may be accepted, a whole lot may not. You are limited within bounds of your scope unless you're doing your own thing out there, right? She has introduced and co-authored multiple bills. She also helped co-author legislation that has become law. She voted consistently with her stated priorities. She secured federal funding for district community projects. She has actively participated in community work. She has used procedural resistance, like walkouts at the state level, to block policies that she has opposed. And if you're wondering where all this information come from, it's just coming from like your local media outlets. I can only give you what they give. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not at every event. I'm not at every party. So these are coming from places like AP, you understand what I'm saying, which is Associated Press, which are giving the facts according to what they have, right? Again, you guys take the information and you have to decide for yourself, right? She also comes as a background with a public defender and also as a civil rights attorney. She has not yet been able to deliver sweeping signature legislation on her own, and that's probably why she wants to run different office and do something a little bit different. Now, here's the deeper question about Crockett. There will be a lot of people that say she got great ideas, but she needs to stop all that debate stuff and all that fancy footwork and all that this and this and that and all the arguing and all of that stuff. And her stance is that if I sit there and if I act polite all the time and I don't fight for myself, she said, how are the people going to see me fighting for them? Right? How are the people going to think I have their back if I don't stand up for myself? She said, if I allow people to beat up on me, then the type of people that she speak to, which is true, because it depends on who your audience is and the people that you're reaching. If they see you a punk, they're going to be like, what you going to do for me? And the horrible stuff I'm going through, So you do have to look at it from her perspective. It doesn't mean that she's a bad leader. You understand what I'm saying? It just means that she's one of those people that if that's how you want to roll, that's how we going to roll. You understand what I'm saying? But don't think that she's unintelligent. This young lady is bright. She's educated, she's wise, she's savvy, and she's versatile. I can give that to Jasmine Crockett. I see it in her. She's very, very versatile. Homegirl can get savvy and talk polite and talk intelligent. She can also get a little ghetto, have a little slang, have a little swang. You know, some people are just, their experiences, their life have allowed them to be like that. I'm one of those people, to be honest with you. I am. That's why people be like, that ain't who you is. Honey, you don't know who I am. I'm very different in so many aspects. It just depends on what environment I'm in, who I'm talking to, what I am doing. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe, to be honest with you guys, all of us are like that. We just don't want to admit it when people want to do fighting. I don't like this person. I don't like that person. I'm with this person. I'm with this person. I'm on this team. I'm on that team. The truth is we are all versatile. Every last single one of us. Sometimes we talk, when we get in front of intelligent people, we don't sit there, I'm a lima. No, we sit and that intelligent part comes out of us. You understand? Even if we have like a southern dialect or a ghetto dialect, you understand what I'm saying? Or whatever you want to call it, that intelligence that's in you rise above. And then there are times when you just sit back kicking it with your girlfriends. Girl, I know, child. Girl, let me tell you. Girl. You know, you just get loose and buck wild. No matter who you are or what race you are, we are all versatile. You understand what I'm saying? All of us. We're not just this one person in a cog. But when people want to fight and strife, they will use and pick little things about who you are so they can say the things about you that they want to say. Now, I want to end with this because I have to end. And I want to end with this. Was Jasmine Crockett correct? And I'm going to show you a video clip of her talking about the rebuttal of ICE. Was she necessarily correct? Was she like everybody else? Just hit the clips and just, wanted to do her thing and looking at it from a partisan lens? Or did she look at it from an objective lens? I'm going to show you a few clips. I want you to watch them, and then I will be
This clip is used for commentary, analysis, and education under Section 107 of the Copyright Act.
I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle. The fact that a woman was killed, she was shot in her head, and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity?
Okay, so when we go and we do a video breakdown of this right here, it's all going to be focused on, was this officer, the one you can barely see here, or in this case, this officer right here, same guy, was he actually placed in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury? In general, there are 4 legal justifications for using lethal force. These are them right here. We're going to ignore 3 of them because we're going to just talk about this first one right here, which is that you yourself are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. If this officer was in fact in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury, he probably has legal justification for using lethal force. Now, like that are just coming to their own legal conclusion, might I remind them to check out what Minnesota law says. For example, Minnesota Statute 609.066, authorized use of deadly force by peace officers. Oh, there's a statute directly on point in Minnesota that talks about when peace officers may use lethal force? Yeah, there is. And here's what the statute says. A, notwithstanding the provisions of Section 609.06 or 609.065, the use of deadly force by a peace officer in the line of duty is justified only if an objectively reasonable officer would believe, based on the totality of circumstances known to the officer at the time and without the benefit of hindsight, that such force is necessary and necessary to do one of the following. 1, to protect the peace officer or another from death or great bodily harm, provided that the threat, 1, can be articulated with specificity, 2, is reasonably likely to occur absent action by the law enforcement officer, and 3, must be addressed through the use of deadly force without unreasonable delay.
See There are multiple clips out there, multiple opinions. But I want you to know this one thing. I would say in theory and in heart and in moral wise, she is correct. I would say in truth wise, I don't care who you are. You don't have to be an officer. If someone tries to ram you with a car, you're going to be invoked. You're going to have a response, or you're going to do something. And the difference between your everyday people, which we are called civilians, versus your officers, they are trained to deal with impact and to kill. I showed you all of this. It's up to you to make your judgments. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here so that we can educate ourselves, to elevate ourselves, so that we can become better and we can stop all that junk. They want us in that negative energy. I find myself sometimes getting into that. I'm like, girl, you got to pull yourself out of that. You can't let these people do that to you. We want to stay out of that. We want better. Our spirits, our minds, we want better. I hope this episode has blessed you. I want you guys to continue to watch TCLN Network and to support it, and also support financially. Everything is in the description below if you're watching by YouTube. If you're watching by Austin Public, you can also find the information at www.creativeleadershipnetwork.com. You guys have a wonderful one. And as Dan Rather would say, courage, my friends.
Thank you for tuning in to TCLN Network, Austin Public. TCLN Network is independently produced by IBK Media Productions. To support TCLN Network financially, visit paypal.me/TCLN Network, also TCLN Channel Podcasts. To learn more about TCLN Network, visit thecreativeleadershipnetwork.com and follow on all socials, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at IBK Media Works.